How do you guys feel after doing the exercise there? You guys feeling okay? Feeling good? Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that
Difference.
now that you've done it, you can kind of see how you feel before and after. What were your thoughts before going in? Were you skeptical about doing this, or in general? How were you feeling before?
I was a little hesitant to participate just because I haven't done group settings before.
Okay.
And usually when I'm going to my physician to talk about things or my psychologist to talk about things, it's like a one-on-one kind of conversation. Didn't know how the other people in the group were going to be. I didn't know kind of their scale of depression, how depressed they were compared to how I was, and where they came from, what their background is, and all that. So I was a little bit skeptical of participating.
Okay.
For me, I was skeptical because it seemed too simple to work. You know, you've been struggling with this for a long time. It's hard to think that just calming your mind is really going to do much for you, but it did seem to make a difference.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess on the lines of that, now that we know how you felt before, what were your feelings during the actual intervention?
It was hard not to be distracted.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to kind of pull myself back into it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got a little more focused, it definitely felt like it was calming, and I felt like I kind of settled into it after a few minutes.
And then what specifically, I guess, for you personally made it hard to focus, I guess?
My leg was up against the cold table leg,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept being distracted by that, thinking I want to move, but that might mess up my relaxation. So I didn't adjust, and I just dealt with it. But
Yeah.
probably would have been better if I just moved in the first place and
Yeah.
not spent time thinking about how cold my leg was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt good during it. At points, I felt like I was going back to those thoughts, though, that I had previously, and negative thoughts, but I remembered to pull myself back into the moment and focus on what you were saying to us by breathing and to bring it back to that breath, focus on your muscles and the feeling in the moment. And then there was a siren going off in the background, which did distract me from the therapy session at the moment. And then I had to remember, pull yourself back in. There's going to be external factors involved, but focus on, in the moment, right now, what's going on in the session.
And then if we decide to do this again, maybe next time we can make sure we get in a place where we don't have to worry about as much external
Any
distractions.
interruptions.
Yeah, interruptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although it might have been a
Yeah.
good practice to be
Yeah.
able to kind of learn to control your
Control
thoughts
yourself
even when
back.
there are other distractions.
Yep, because
and
when you,
negative
a lot of
things.
times when you might be doing this, you might be out, you might do it, not driving, but in a public place possibly where you need to kind of
Yeah.
wind down, and there might be some distractions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You won't have a choice for a completely quiet
Yeah.
life, but you can kind of learn to control your
Pull yourself
thoughts.
back into
Yeah.
it.
How about after? What are your thoughts? Do you think it's dumb? Do you like it?
I don't think it's dumb. I think there are benefits to use it. I did feel in the moment, I felt more relaxed, and afterwards I feel more relaxed and focus on the moment, focus on what's going on right now in time, versus spinning my head around everything that I need to do, all these negative thoughts just circling, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, and focus on right now, what do I need to do right now, and what's important. So I felt like it was beneficial to practice that, and excited to learn more exercises to use in the future.
Good.
Yeah, I thought it was good for calming the mind. You know, even when you're distracted by something, your voice helped kind of pull us back in, and we were able to focus on what we were doing, and just trying to work on one thought at once, I thought was really beneficial.
Okay, good, excellent. I know you guys kind of hit on some barriers. Were there other barriers that you felt? I don't know, maybe the way I presented the material possibly, or something that you two were doing that you thought might have been distracting that we can maybe fix next time we do it? Anything?
I thought the setting might have been a little intimidating with a big conference room with all those chairs. If there were a huge
Yeah.
group of people, it may have been like too much because I'm not used to being in huge group settings. So
Yeah.
that may have been too much for me, just seeing the huge table with all those chairs around, and then it's just us and you at the table. So it's kind of
Yeah.
intimidating, just like it's us against you, kind of the therapist versus clients. But that's pretty much the only barrier that I felt at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Just becoming more comfortable with the setting and with the people around you. You know, doing it with people that you don't know, it's kind of weird sitting there with your eyes closed, but
Yeah.
I can see it being something that as we were more comfortable with each other, we'd be more comfortable with the activity.
Mhm.
It'd get a little bit easier.
Yep. And now that we've done it kind of in a group setting, how could you apply this in your own life, personally, privately, publicly, however I think you could apply it to your own life?
I'd say, like you said, you know, in public sometimes if there's
Yeah.
a time when we're feeling off and we're feeling overwhelmed, just to take a few minutes, it might be in the car before you go into work or to class, and being able to use it at any time, you know, whenever we need a calming influence.
You can always bring it back to, you said, bring it back to your breath every time, focus on your breath. So you can really do that anywhere with obviously not driving, like you said, because that's dangerous. But before work is good, just because I know I feel anxious before going to work, just because I know every time I walk in, there's a long list of things I have to do. So doing that, bringing it back to in the moment, not thinking negatively about going into work, but focusing on the breath in the moment. You're going to go into work and do your job. I think before work would be great. Before class, obviously there's anxiety built up with going to school and how we're going to do, how our stats exams are going to go and all of that. So using that practice before would kind of bring you back to being in the moment that day. Stop worrying about everything else going on and focus on what the task is.
Do you think that there could be like a scaled down version of it, not necessarily where you have to close your eyes? Like maybe you could find a soundtrack that would work for you while you're driving. You could do it while driving.
Keep your eyes open.
But keep your eyes open. Yeah.
Just try to keep your mind clear.
Yeah, mind clear and relax if you have a stressful exam or a presentation or something, just to get kind of
Or like
level-headed.
deep breathing exercises, you can do that while driving, just focusing on your breath while you're driving, so you're still focused on dangerous activities. But
Yeah. And as far as, not necessarily for school, but do you think it would be beneficial for you to do at night to help with sleep, or before the day starts, kind of just to get your mind prepared for what might be ahead?
Yeah,
Morning
I
and night,
definitely think
yeah.
before sleep would be really big, because I know I struggle with falling asleep at night, just a lot of thoughts and trying to calm everything, and getting relaxed enough to go to sleep is really hard, so I think doing that before bed would probably be very helpful.
I think, yeah,
Make
before
that
bed would be good, just get you ready, focus on sleep and not focus on everything that happened that day or the thoughts that you're having at that moment, to kind of focus on that, and kind of brings you down. I felt tired during the session, so I feel like that would help
Yeah.
aid in sleep.
And if you did it laying down in bed, that might help even more.
You might fall asleep. doing
Perfect.
that, So,
Well, that's-
perfect.
yeah,
That's exactly what you need.
Help you get to sleep.
Yeah.
What do you think what did you learn from this experience? On the kind of like a summary in your own words of what you think you might be able to take from something like this?
I think I know now that I can control my thoughts a little bit more, and I have more power than depression makes me feel sometimes. I can decide what I'm going to think about and how I'm going to feel, and exert a little bit of power over it. You know, sometimes it can make you feel kind of powerless and helpless, and you just have to remember that you have tools, you have ways to kind of alter your own mental state. So knowing that with more practice I can kind of get better at that and more calm, it's good. It gives me something to look forward to.
And with that, like, I felt like if we keep practicing it, you'll be able to get into that relaxation faster, just because your body has practiced and you kind of know where you're going. You might be able to get into it faster, because when we're doing it, I'm like, oh, I feel so much stress in my neck, my shoulders, and it's just been carrying around all the weight and negativity and stress of the day over and over, and I'm not focusing on myself. So the activity really helps steer thought path into focusing on myself in that moment versus everything is spinning around. So it kind of taught us to steer into the right direction of where our mind needs to be.
Okay. And I know in our intakes, we had talked about how you guys both wanted to improve social participation and your leisure activity, what you guys like doing with that. How will this help with that? Just the fact that you can relax, you can kind of control it, give you maybe lessen your anxiety to go out in public. I'm gonna speak on that, I guess, if you have anything to say on that.
I sometimes experience social, like, anxiety if I'm going to a place I don't know, and I don't know what to expect. I don't know who's going to be there, like big parties or something, social gatherings, you don't really know what to expect. So doing those exercises before might get you in the right state of mind going into it, versus if I don't have that exercise, I might not even go, just because of the anxiety that goes with that you're not sure what's going to happen there. So I think it would help just to kind of bring you back to that in the moment, relaxed state, to try to do things and try to get involved and do new things, even just because you have a different state of mind going into it.
Yeah, for me I think that would just improve motivation a lot, because a lot of times you just don't want to start. You don't want to do the things that you used to do, and it's hard to get excited about them. But I think if I did some mindfulness before, something I was expected to go to, a friend's party or something, I could calm myself enough and realize I can be in this moment, I can go enjoy. I think that would help.
Yeah.
Give me the right frame of mind.
And I think you guys are speaking on a lot of the goals of what this was for, to think in the moment and positive thoughts. So I think that this activity went well, and I think that we'd like to do it again, and I think that you guys hopefully we can, if you guys have any more thoughts that you wanna say about it, nothing else, or you guys feel like we did a pretty good job here?
I think I'm comfortable with the session today. I'd like to learn different mindfulness exercises in the future, just to kind of broaden our range and see what works best for us. Just because I might not be able to do that all the time, and it was kind of time consuming. So if we can find an exercise that's shorter and that can help get into that moment, that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think we should work on practicing more regularly, even if it's smaller bursts, you know, just 3 to 5 minutes at a time. I think that would make a difference, even in just little periods.
Okay. All right, thanks for coming to the session today, and I appreciate your honesty, and hopefully we can keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.